Introducing you to people across North Carolina and around the world who put their Catholic faith into action. This is Faith Works on Catholic 540 AM Divine Mercy Radio. Now, here's your host for Faith Works, Ellen White.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Faith Works on Divine Mercy Radio. Our show highlights individuals through God's grace who put their faith into action daily. Amazing people who have an interesting, sometimes overlooked, impact on our Catholic faith. On Faith Works, we share their stories. I'm your host, Ellen White. Today, I'm joined by a local couple, Bill and Michelle Wolf, who have walked a powerful journey of faith through illness, suffering, and spiritual renewal. Welcome. It's strange to say welcome, Bill and Michelle, when I'm sitting in your house and you have been so gracious to serve my husband and I dinner and have a wonderful visit and really get to know you. So, well, welcome anyway to Divine Mercy Radio.
Thank you.
I'm super excited about our discussion this evening. There's so much there. I knew right away when we met, I don't even know, a year and a half ago, maybe, or I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah, we were praying for you certainly before that, but what a blessing.
The whole parish was.
Yes, yeah, so beautiful. Okay, so from discerning the priesthood and pursuing adoption to surviving multiple surgeries and discovering the power of prayer in their marriage, their story is a moving testimony of how God meets us in our most difficult moments. Whether you're navigating suffering, questioning how to pray, or just in need of hope, their story will speak to you. Let's dive in. Okay, so let's start with introductions and faith foundations. A little bit of a background for our listeners, Bill. Let's start with you. Briefly share what your faith life looked like when you grew up. And where are you from?
I'm originally from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Lived there for 5 years, moved to California.
Okay.
Was there for another 35, 40 years.
Okay.
35 years. Moved out to North Carolina when I was 40. And I've been here for 22, 23 years.
Wow. Okay. How about you, Michelle?
I was raised in Sacramento, California as an Air Force brat.
Okay.
And I met Bill at a parish in 1991, 3 weeks after I was supposed to marry somebody else in San Jose, California.
Mm-hmm. And, I remember hearing this story not too long ago, and you really emphasized the Holy Spirit's promptings in that encounter. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. So I know, Bill, you spent some time at the Newman Center in San Diego State University, right? So talk about that.
I was in San Jose, moved to San Diego for school.
Okay.
I loved it. And my sister would live down there. So that's
Okay.
I would visit her. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is where I want to be. Was there freshman year, just kind of did whatever. And sophomore year, I was going to Mass on Sunday. But then I met some friends there and met some people that became friends. And then I met more friends and their friends and all that. And after a while, I was like, these guys are great.
Okay.
So they became my friends.
Yeah.
And then the faith there was really strong, and it grew my faith.
Yeah. Well, thanks be to God, too. I think that we need to do a little plug for the Newman Centers all over the country that
Yes.
work tirelessly to feed the students' souls at these universities. Go
Yes. So
When they're most vulnerable.
ahead. Right. Exactly.
So it got so much that I was going to daily Mass along with Sunday Mass.
Wow.
And
What was it that made that transition for you? What drew you to that? Your friends were there, I guess. And
yeah, I mean, I only had like 3 or 4 friends that went to any daily Mass.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
of course, in college, maybe you're a Tuesday, Thursday person, or maybe you're a Monday, Wednesday, Friday person, or whatever. But it gave me a grounding and a strength, a strength in something that is good and dear, that I remembered growing up, I went to Mass every Sunday with my mom. You don't miss.
Yeah. Right.
And then I was like, yeah, this is
what you need. It's really
what I need.
When I was actually listening to Catholic radio this afternoon, and it was an interview with Father Spitzer, and apparently he's got a new book that he's written, which does not surprise me. He's with the Magis Center, if you're not familiar with him, and I can share more about his work. He's amazing. But he was talking about how, the kids of this generation, and people that are really struggling and they don't have a faith, that when you add that spiritual component of the Mass and the sacraments, how it fills that void. You're able to be joyful. I'm not going to do it justice because Father Spitzer is just amazing, but you experience that by getting to daily Mass. And then this led to a discernment process for you, right?
Yes, but one thing that did help was I took a New Testament course.
So your eyes were opened.
Yeah, and then met a couple people. I'm like, you used to go to the Newman Center. Oh yeah, but now I found the light. So I went to their Bible study, which was really a convert the Catholic kid.
Yeah.
So it was 10 weeks, and there was a topic every week, and I got advance notice, and it was great because some of the stuff I didn't know, so I had to go research, and the priest was like, "Do you want any help?" I'm like, "Nope, I'll go do it on my own." And at the end of the 10 weeks, I was like, "Oh yeah, I know all these things that they were, trying to get me on, and I'm now fully entrenched. This is it for me." And it was great.
They're trying to get you on. You mean the Protestants that were trying to convert you away from the church? Yes, there's a very intentional approach to that in there. Yeah. But you did the research on your own so that you could answer the questions. Yeah. That's good.
So then my faith grew, and then when I graduated, it was like, maybe the next step is
discernment.
The discernment for the priesthood.
Okay.
So I went and I did that for a year, and my priest is pretty funny. So after a year, he called me up at work and said, "Bill, come down here. Meet me at 3:00. Okay. He didn't say no, and he just hung up. I mean, I don't even think if he heard me anyway. So I went down there, and he was like, "Okay, Bill, are you in?" "Oh, yeah." Well, I think I'm out. He's like, "Okay, good. See you on Sunday."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was the end of that.
And I was into that.
Yeah. You just knew. Michelle, you mentioned attending Catholic schools, but feeling like you were just going through the motions when you were out there. So what began to awaken a deeper faith for you later on after having had this experience at parochial schools? And did you know, because I've talked to adults now that went to Catholic school when they were younger, and they had this inkling that it was lacking. It was watered down. Did you know that or no?
I think it was watered down, and I wouldn't say it was shoved down our throat, not by any means, but Catholic family, Mass every Sunday, it was expected.
Yep.
Mass weekly, attend every funeral of every old person that died in the parish.
Right.
Weekly.
Right.
We were at Mass at least once a week, and I enjoyed it. It always felt bigger than myself. It always made me feel a part of something bigger than
beautiful.
myself.
Okay.
But it wasn't until college. I went to school. I lived at home for 2 years and went to college at the junior college down the street. And I found myself going to daily Mass.
Oh, great.
And I'm not really sure why, but I needed to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was just a place to find peace, I think.
Yeah, in the midst of the world. And you both have that same experience. That's really cool. So your faith journeys began to intertwine after meeting at Queen of the Apostles. Share what that meeting was like and how God played a role in bringing you guys together. So first, what is Queen of Apostles?
Queen of Apostles was the Catholic parish in Santa Clara that we met at.
Okay.
My fiance canceled the wedding over the phone, and I found myself living with a sister who was not Catholic, and her friend said, "You need to go to the Sunday night young adult Mass." I did, and they said that there was one scholarship left, and I kind of put an energy out there, it's mine. So I went to the room after. I talked to a guy, okay, who do I talk to about that scholarship? They said, go see Bill Wolf. And the joke is I've been asking for Bill for money ever since. But we became fast friends. We became friends at that retreat.
Yeah.
I felt a sense of peace again, that I was going to be okay through that loss.
Yeah.
That was so major in my life.
You know what's really, I don't even know why I'm surprised anymore, but there is a resounding theme that comes out of every interview, and it will come up over and over and over again. So I bet that that's what this is. When we just hand it over to the Lord and trust that He's got it. It's like His eyes.
I got that this weekend.
Eyes on Him in the boat, not looking anywhere else. Just look at Him and trust Him and give it all to Him, and He'll take care of it. So
so it was a social time in the young adults group, and Bill introduced me to something called Taizé prayer, which was the first Friday of the month at the Mercy Center in Burlingame in South San Francisco. And oh my gosh, it was the most beautiful way I'd ever prayed. It was a couple hundred people in a lowly lit room with string instruments. We venerated the cross. It was a lot of repetition of the Psalms. And Taizé was started in France by a Catholic priest and his Lutheran minister friend. Okay. And it's very rare, but it's very beautiful. And it was during the Lord's Prayer at Taizé. And mind you, Bill and I had been dating a week and a half. It was during the Lord's Prayer. I had a vision of us getting married, and I turned white as a ghost, and I looked at him very scared, like a deer in the headlights, and he was grinning ear to ear.
So I took her home to her apartment, and we were sitting there talking, and I looked at her and I said, hey, what was that expression on your face during the Lord's Prayer? And she goes, oh, I saw a vision, but I don't want to talk about it. I said, well, can I guess? And she's like, no, don't even try to guess. Don't even go there. I was like, okay. I said, you know what? I'm not going to guess. I'm going to tell you what you saw. You said you saw a vision of us getting married at Queen of Apostles with your sister as the maid of honor. Jeff is our best man, and we're getting married. And she goes, how did you know that? I said, because I saw the same vision.
But we had very different reactions. He was beaming ear to ear, happy as a clam. I was like, oh, no, not again.
Well, I mean, as emotional creatures, right, and sensitive to emotion, I get it. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. That's okay.
But the one thing is, nowadays, if you've ever seen us say the Lord's Prayer during Mass, when we hold hands and they say, Our Father, we look at each other and we wink, and that's our sign to each other that, remember, we had the vision during the Lord's Prayer.
Wow. And how many years later is this now? How many years have you been married?
30.
We've been married 32, so plus another 2.
34.
So you were 90.
32. 93.
93.
32 years.
and we do the same thing. We were married in 91. Was it 34? 30. Yeah. Something after that, 30. If you're just tuning in, this is Ellen White with Faith Works on Divine Mercy Radio. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Bill and Michelle Wolf about their own faith journey through lots of different encounters with Christ. How about that? And we are grateful for our show's sponsor, Thales College. All right. So, wow, that's incredible. So you get married. At what point did you discern that you were called to adoption? How many years in was that?
93, 4, 5, 6. In 1996, we started trying to have a baby, and by 98, it was clear it wasn't going to happen.
Now, this just kind of popped into my head. I've always felt like the Lord prepares me for whatever struggles are coming by having little struggles along the way. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So it's how we embrace that struggle, that test, that bit of suffering, that kind of prepares us for the next one, right? So, I don't know, did you encounter that at all with wanting to conceive children and then not being able to, and then the adoption process? Did that prepare you for the health struggles?
Well, we had an endometriosis diagnosis almost immediately, which is very rare.
Okay.
And I won't go into that.
Yeah.
But it was a true diagnosis. It was very painful. I always said I wanted to be a mom. I never said I wanted to give birth.
Oh, yeah.
And it just hit me. Well, our nephew was adopted. He was as much part of the family as the other kids in the family.
Right.
And an opportunity came, and we went for it.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Never looked back. And never felt any less because of it.
Right. Right. Had lots of love to give. Yeah, that's awesome. So, Bill.
Yes.
Health concerns started when you were a preemie.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
I was born 3 months early. I weighed 1 pound, 5 ounces at birth. And remember, this was 100 years ago, that, it was oxygen and sugar water and hope for the best.
Really? Oxygen and sugar water.
He was in the front page of the paper the day he came home at 5 months old.
And how much did you weigh at that point?
About 4.5 pounds.
Wow. And so do you think that, and did you have surgeries at that point when you were a preemie, or no?
No.
No surgeries were involved?
No.
Okay. Did the fact that you were a preemie contribute to your current health conditions?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so...
So we've recently found out that the kidney is the only organ that once you're born, it doesn't continue to develop. And by that, what I mean is, although it will continue to get bigger in size to fit your body and everything, there's little filters within the kidney that grow from 3 months to 9 months. Well, once I was born at 6 months, the filters, stopped developing. So I only got what I got.
Okay.
And it wasn't enough. So since they didn't filter that great, and I found out around 35 when I went for life insurance that I had an issue, not a big deal, but it was something that we would track, and year over year, and I just gradually got worse and worse and worse.
Well, it's a good thing that you had that at 35 so you could keep an eye on it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the kidney and the heart are kind of related. They're brothers, they're hooked up. So they when one's not doing well, it kind of affects the other one and vice versa.
So did you have any symptoms associated with the kidney issue or the heart issue initially?
The kidney was just the test, basically.
Okay.
And I didn't have any heart issues.
Okay.
My 20s, I was a triathlete and all that. And I didn't have anything,
Okay.
And it all started, I was working Wednesday, walked to my car and kind of short of breath.
How long ago was this, Bill?
2017.
2017.
May.
Go to work Thursday, walk to my car, and now I have to sit in my car for a little bit because it's like, oh, well, that was kind of tiring. Friday, go to work, walk to my car, now I'm like...
Out of breath.
Got to sit here. I'm out of breath.
Did you have any chest pains or any of the... Nothing?
No, just breath, short of breath. Went home, 7:30, I'm like, I'm exhausted, I'm going to bed. Wake up at, 8:30, my daughter comes in, and she goes, how you doing, Dad? And I'm like arched up, trying to breathe, and I couldn't breathe.
Okay.
Father-in-law takes me to the ER, and they do the little blood pressure thing and hook you up. And
are you here? Are you? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
we're here. And my blood pressure was 180 over 120, but my pulse rate was like 195. And they admit me immediately. 3 hours of medication to bring it down, did nothing. So they put me in an ambulance and shipped me off to the
Big hospital.
Big hospital.
You know, it's interesting because a lot of people will just use, if they feel like they've got blood pressure issues, they'll do the cuff. But if yours was reading within normal limits, right?
No, the BP was quite high.
Oh, okay.
But I wasn't doing the cuff thing or anything like that.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Okay. So rushed you to ER. That was 2017. What month are we talking about?
May. Right before he missed his oldest daughter's high school graduation.
Okay. Wow. And rushed you into surgery. No. Okay.
No surgery.
Walk us through it.
Summer of 2017, he was in and out of the hospital. He lost 35 pounds that summer. He had something called a life vest, which was essentially EKG pads against his skin 24/7 under his T-shirt, under his shirt.
Okay.
That if his heart should stop beating, it would shock him. It never did. In August of 2017, he got a pacemaker, and life changed. And he was in and out of the hospital like clockwork every 6 to 9 months, back in the hospital. And it was finally in January of 2022, his cardiologist said, I can't help you anymore. You need a better, more advanced cardiologist, which surprised us. And I'd heard whisperings of kidney heart transplant prior, but they just kind of tossed him out so callously. Big words for us as a first timer, little words for doctors who deal with this all the time. And
you can pause. Go ahead.
So when it happened and we finally said, okay, we were referred to a doctor at UNC, and the first visit was great. I was the last patient.
April 6th.
I was the last patient, and he was with us for an hour and a half. He did a couple tests right there and then said, yeah, we're going to...
You need a heart and kidney.
We're
You
going
need
to
a
be,
heart and kidney.
Yeah, doing this.
Just point blank, you need a heart and kidney.
So this was 5 years after the initial issue, and you're going through with this previous physician that was trying to help you and finally said, I can't do anything else for you. I'm going to send you to somebody else.
It was clear that she knew she just was nice about it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, and then you start the search for, this is a Catholic radio show. So tell me about your faith at this point. Right?
Clinging.
These 5 years
Clinging.
of going through all of this. At the initial shock, and then
a pacemaker is kind of ordinary. Both his parents had one.
Okay.
It didn't seem like such a big deal when it was a pacemaker.
Right. Yeah.
But certainly the Life Fest was kind of discerning, and him showing up at any event like church looking gaunt was alarming to many people.
I noticed the color of your skin is so much better now than it was like a year ago. Mm-hmm. I can see that.
But yeah, we would attend Mass, and there were days where I just sat the whole time. Because sitting and standing and kneeling and all that.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
Just too much. What was going through your mind, and what were you thinking about all of this, Bill?
I wasn't thinking like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. But there were times where it was like, okay, my mom went through this at a young age. And her dad died of this.
How old was your grandfather when he passed?
My grandfather was 62 when he passed.
Wow. Okay.
So
is your mother still living? No.
But she made it to 82, which was great.
Praise God.
But died following heart stent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that always crept in the back of my mind, like, this is serious.
Did it impact your faith? Did it make you stronger in your faith, dependent on God at that point? Not really.
It wasn't like I was praying to saints more or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think it kind of brought me back to like the Newman Center days of going to Mass and concentrating. And since I was going to weekday Mass and there's, 10 people there, you concentrate on what's going on in front of you.
Right.
Whereas, when you have little kids and everything,
that's why we sit in the front row.
You get whatever,
That's harder.
So we didn't have little kids anymore. And now it was like, okay, maybe I should concentrate on, what's happening in front of me. So even though I can't sit, kneel, stand, whatever, I can watch what's going on and pay attention more.
How about you, Michelle? What was your faith like during this time?
I think very similar. I always had a faith in God, and I often tell Bill, you got to trust God more. I think, I'm not to say that Bill doesn't trust in God, but I think sometimes I lead him more now than in the beginning he led me more. But in 2009, he was really sick and nearly died. We were told to call family. And the whole parish was praying for him in 2009.
And that was heart-related too, or no?
No, he has a clotting disorder.
Okay.
It was following back surgery, just a simple little back surgery.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Right.
And he came out of that thinking, God keeps sparing me. What does God want me for?
I remember you saying that before.
I must have a huge purpose. I'm thinking about going through the diaconate program. And I said, nope. You were doing it for the wrong reasons.
And we got girls at home.
And we got girls at home, and I do not do math homework help, and they need a lot of help. So I felt bad, but I felt like I was doing our parish a service. He was doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
When you were doing the priestly discernments, and Father Jim Mifsud, who married us, called you in and said, well, Bill, what's it going to be? And he said, well, I want to be a father. I said, you wanted to be a father. You did not become a priest so that you could be a dad.
Right.
Be the best dad you can be. Be present for those girls. They were brought to us a very special way.
So you get to this point where it's evident that you need a kidney and a heart transplant.
Yes.
And you're told about lists and how long it takes and blood type and all of that, I'm sure. Did they give you any indication about how long it would probably be if there was a match?
Well, so I had to get on the list first.
Okay.
So when you see TV shows and they say, oh, my person's dying. Oh, mine's got the same thing. Hey, put his heart in that one. I mean,
it doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work that way. You have to go through a slew.
It was a vetting process,
tests.
and it covered everything from economic to environment to health to support to extra support, who would be our secondary backup person.
Right.
It was his sister who lived in California.
Wow.
We named her because she was a PT, and it made the most sense. She was retired and could travel. But it was a 6-month process just to get on the list. He got on the list October 15th, 2022. He took Thanksgiving week off. We had an appointment with our heart, with the big cardiologist, a follow-up on that Monday.
We did
He did the echo or something. Yeah. And he said, after this whole big appointment, he said, Bill, I'm going to admit you next week. He said, Thursday's Thanksgiving. I'm going to give you this week, but I'm admitting you Monday. And he looked at me very seriously, and he said, if he so much as looks at you funny, sneezes funny, coughs funny, or sounds different, you call 911. And the very next day that happened. So he entered the hospital 2 days before Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. I nearly lost him on Thanksgiving night on December 10th.
Yeah. And so I waited 6 months for the heart.
In the hospital.
Same room, looking at the walls 24 hours a day.
At a 45-degree angle with life-saving devices in his neck, and he had a clotting disorder, and he had to go through these painful procedures every 3 days to put a new thing in the neck and things in the arm. And he was in the emergency room. Not the emergency room. He was in the ICU for 9 months.
So what was going through your mind as you're staring at these walls and your heart during that 6-month process? As you're, on the list and you're waiting,
Patience.
Did you bring that anxiety to God?
Yes, because by then, other things that maybe I thought I could control, I would try to. But this is just out of my hands. I mean, there's nothing I can do. I'm hoping when I go to sleep, I wake up. Mm-hmm. I mean, truthfully.
Yeah, right.
So there was so yes, I did speak to God. I did do, not mass because I couldn't leave my bed, but
did they have?
They had. Well, I did online, but they had a couple priests that would come.
COVID. Yeah.
They would do communion.
Okay, good.
And I did that. One of the priests was very young. He was actually a parishioner at St. Luke's and became a priest. And he...
Father DeMassimo?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because he was based right there at St. Thomas More.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
And he came, and I was exhausted that day. And he came in, and we went to say the rosary. And I could get Hail Mary, and that was like it.
Okay.
So he did the rest of the decade.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
With me, and that was all I could do.
Another reminder how important it is to pray for our priests that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So one of the things I always remembered was there's a Morgan Freeman movie, and I don't know the name of it. I wish I did so I could see it. And he says to the person there,
Or he plays God.
oh, that's right, he does. So he says to the person, when you ask God for patience, does he just wave his magic wand and give you patience? No. He gives you the opportunity to develop patience. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I must be getting my opportunity because there's nothing I can do. I'm also hooked up to everything, like my wife said, right? So I can't move. I can't do anything on my own.
Did you read at all? Were you reading?
He wasn't tired. He was more watching TV, but Chosen became a thing.
Yeah. So beautiful segue. Thank you very much. There is, when I was reading about the information that you sent over to me and that part with little James and why he was not healed, I cried and cried and cried because we can all relate to that, right?
Mm-hmm. Told no.
Yeah. So talk about that. Talk about the part in The Chosen for people that might not be familiar with this particular episode or this part and how it touched you.
So The Chosen is a 5-year and ongoing series of the life of Jesus, but from the aspect of not only what Jesus taught, but also from his apostles and how they viewed things, not always when the miracles were taking place, but in the spaces in between. Mm-hmm. So it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Right. So I am now watching this as I'm twiddling my thumbs, waiting for something to happen.
Mm-hmm. Incapacitated.
And I'm watching this episode, and the man who plays Jesus, to me, in my little brain, looks just like him.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
And so as I'm watching
Jonathan
each
Rumi.
episode, yes. So as I'm watching each episode, I'm getting drawn in and drawn in and drawn in.
I'm watching it at home on my own, and we're comparing. And
so by the time this episode came, Jesus has done a number of healings, healing people who are sick and healing people who are blind, deaf, all that stuff. Well, little James comes, and he is one of the apostles, and he has like a limp. His leg doesn't work right. And they're going to go off 2 by 2 to heal people. And he said, well, Jesus, wouldn't it look kind of strange if I'm supposed to heal people, or I do heal people, but I'm not healed myself? And Jesus turns to him and says, but you're an example of what I can do and what the Holy Spirit can do through you. And, God made you this way for a purpose.
Mm-hmm. In your weakness, I am made strong. Yeah. That's so incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how did that affect you in understanding your suffering and your own particular healing journey?
Well, when I saw that, it definitely was moving and hit me hard because I was like, okay, I feel like I'm kind of like little James right now, that I'm being used for something and I don't know what. I certainly hope for a good outcome, but you're being used. So maybe if I don't make it, there's a good outcome for someone else.
There you go. Sometimes we're not meant to see or understand at all.
Right.
And we just need to trust that. Michelle, you said it wasn't until 2022 that you really understood what real suffering was.
Well,
talk a little bit about, this whole experience and
watching the man I love suffer on a daily basis and not being able to do a whole lot about it. And sometimes I'd get calls at 7 a.m. from the nurse saying, he's asking for you. He's asking for you. I just need another hour's sleep. Give me. And it was an hour drive to get there. I said, tell him I'll be there at 2. And whenever I would go see him, I'd put my hand on his head and I'd draw the sign of the cross with my thumb on his forehead every time. And I don't know if he knows that to this day. But I kind of feel like sometimes I was his best medicine. I've been told I was a really good advocate for him while he was there. You know, when you're frightened, you want to be with your loved ones.
Absolutely.
And as much as we loved the staff, he was a patient.
Right.
To them.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, Michelle, because of course we are our advocates. We are the advocates for our family members that, you know, are hospitalized, and we're there speaking for them. I just did an interview with a physician that Dr. Brian Klausner, who does a lot of work with the homeless community at Wake Med, and he was talking a lot about the chaplain that is there on a regular basis and how much more effective that chaplain is than all the medical treatment that they do for the homeless, the patients that come in there, and you can see a tremendous difference. So not only, exactly. And, you know, with doing the sign of the cross on Bill's forehead and touch, the power of touch. And
it was kind of like a baptism.
If you're just tuning in, this is Ellen White with Faith Works on Divine Mercy Radio. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Bill and Michelle Wolf about their own faith journey through lots of different encounters with Christ. How about that? And we are grateful for our show's sponsor, Thales College. Okay. My gosh. When I read this, I thought, no way that couldn't be true. 9 surgeries.
In 9 weeks.
In 9 weeks, cardiac arrest, 9 months in the hospital. This was obviously not just Bill's trial. It was a trial for both of you. And there's such a ripple effect. I mean, it affects not only the two of you, your daughters, family, friends, community. You said in 2009, you had the church community praying, and it was just a precursor to this whole experience.
They all know Bill's name.
But that's what, I mean, we'll talk about this later too, but how did you support each other spiritually during this time? I mean, you said you did
I did that for him. He kept a very brave face. He did not complain.
I knew I needed to be strong for her.
Yeah.
And I did my best to keep that up. Because there were great days.
Yeah.
You know, fun days. I mean, hey, after that long of time, I got to know the staff really well.
You gave financial advice.
I was financial advisor to some of them. It's like, oh, you should be doing this. And, you know, your 401k should be here. We need to change that. So
you're taking advantage of this time in the hospital to help people.
Yeah.
It made him feel better, too.
Yes.
Useful.
Right. And the staff, everybody, what was that experience like with the people that were there?
Phenomenal staff. UNC Blue.
UNC Blue.
Carolina Blue at UNC. Man, what a program. And I have nothing to compare it to. He's only had 1 heart and kidney transplant.
Yeah.
But you can imagine the guilt that comes with this when you are praying. What's your blood type?
A negative.
A
So
negative. Okay.
my youngest daughter and I were coming home in December. Mind you, he entered 2 days before Thanksgiving. This is December. We were coming home. There was a huge car accident, lots of equipment. And my sweet girl said, "Oh, I hope they're okay." I said, "I hope they're A negative 240 and 61." And she's like, "Mom." But yeah, true. You know, I was counting days, and I was putting this story on Facebook, and we got to day 273, and I remember telling a friend at about day 190, she said, "Girl, you got to start going with months, these days." He's fighting day by day by day. I'm keeping it at days.
Yes, and sometimes it's seconds and minutes, right? Putting one foot in front of the other and just trusting.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so
But I will say, you're talking about a faith journey.
yeah,
I joined the Hallow app when he was in the hospital.
Hallow app, fantastic.
And-
Good little plug here.
And I would fall asleep every night to the rosary. It gave me the only peace when my mind was racing and the what ifs and please God, find the right match. You're hoping for someone has to die to get this precious life. Someone has to die for this to happen. And you just pray for the right opportunity and for that family to have peace with that decision, with their agony that is coming and they don't.
So when did it ultimately happen? And how were you notified?
Oh, this is fun. So he missed our oldest daughter's high school graduation. Our youngest was graduating college the day before Mother's Day. And I had told her, if Dad has his heart and is still in the hospital, I will be there. If not, she said, "You need to be with Dad." Absolutely. So I marched in there at 9:45 and just kind of owned the place and said, "All right, if you haven't done round, you get 15 minutes. Don't bother us. Our graduation's at 10. It should be over in 2 hours. I'll be out there." I came out. There's a whole bunch of people standing there. 5 minutes later, they came in. "So we found a heart and a kidney for you. We think it's a really good heart and kidney for you." And we're bawling. Like, oh my gosh, this is the day before Mother's Day. So
they said it'll be a long day, but we'll do a bunch of tests, but it looks good. And if everything is good, then you'll have the surgery as soon afterwards.
wow. The heart on Sunday, the kidney would come on Monday, because these organs had to come from the same donor.
Wow.
Which made it, with his tall, large frame, because they had to match the body height with his rare blood type, with needing
This is so
a perfectly
miraculous.
good heart and a perfectly good kidney.
Do you know where it came from?
No.
No.
They don't
but
give you any of that
Nope.
information.
0.
We wrote our letter. After, you can't write the letter for a year. He wrote a beautiful letter, made me cry.
Sure. Oh my gosh, I wish we had it. I could read it.
It might take months because it has to go through this
Right.
system.
Yeah.
And they might still not have it yet. And it was written last November, I think.
Wow.
So we went through the tests, and then apparently that went well. Hearts only last so long. So there's always a heart surgeon at the hospital
When he means it only lasts so long on ice.
Right.
on ice.
So what we found out was he was the very first heart in a box at UNC, and a heart in a box means it's not just in a cooler in the cockpit. It is on a machine beating the entire time from the donor's hospital to his hospital. So we know it traveled a far way. Evidently our surgeon fought for that because he entered, you get listed as a number 5 out of 6, with 1 being you need a heart or you're going to die tomorrow. So Bill entered as a 5. 2 days later, he was a 3. By the time he got the heart, he was a 2.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Really
You're pretty
in need
close.
of a
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
All right. So, as much as I want to get into the nitty gritty of the medical
Yes.
issues and the science, let's back away from that a little bit.
Agreed.
You mentioned that the two of you began praying together for the first time after all this. What inspired that change, and what did it look like when you first started? Let's start with you, Michelle.
Okay, so Bill hadn't been working. He was out of work for so long.
Right.
He came home with feed bags, drains.
Yeah.
I had to put meds in his heart. I'm halfway to an RN by now, but he couldn't work. He was out of the hospital, but he had a lot of recovery to do. He came home in August of 2023, and then he started looking for work. He was getting stronger and looking for work, and he'd have all these fabulous interviews and make it to the final rounds, and he was just getting kicked one after another. It's like to watch my husband go through what he did, recover, know he's a very proud man, wants to be a breadwinner. You know, it's very important for him to support us. We're 60-ish. And we just decided to start praying aloud together, really for the first time. We'd said grace together, but we hadn't sat in quiet and ever prayed that way before. And we started praying fervently around Thanksgiving 2024. And the Legion of Mary brought Mary to us on December 6th. She's supposed to stay with you for a week. They said, you guys keep her. We'll call you when we need her back. And that was December. And we are now in August. There's so many graces with Mary in our presence.
So many graces.
Bill got a
Mary.
job. There's other graces in our family that have been happening, taking place. And we're very calm. We're not the same couple we were 4 years ago.
More peace.
We have more peace, more trust and faith.
What would you add to that, Bill? To the journey of praying together. And, you know, I want to add, too, that although it is a challenge, because it's such an intimate thing that you do with your spouse, and if you're not comfortable with it, that's why, because it's incredibly intimate. But the graces that flow from it are insurmountable.
And what I've learned is there is no right way to pray.
No.
There absolutely is no right way to pray. I remember being in 8th grade and Sister Mary saying, you just have to thank God for your day and say thank you, and please let you help pass that test when you're sitting at the stop sign on your way to school with Mom driving you to school. And it kind of came to please and thank you.
That's
your
right.
manners with God. Talk to God like he's your friend, but thank you for all my many blessings. Thank you for another day with Bill. Thank you for everything we have and that's coming.
And
please keep coming.
And to your question, I think one of the reasons why we didn't pray together is because our styles, if you want to call it that, are very different. She's, oh yeah, thank you. Oh wow, this is great. Oh, okay. And I'm like, no, I got to have something rigid. I'm either reading the Bible, researching the scripture of this verse versus that verse, or it's the rosary because I know where it's come from. Okay, good.
I think there's a time and a place for both.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
But I think that's what kind of kept us apart from praying together. So once we decided, you know what, we need to pray together because, you know, two is better than one.
Yeah. And I never prayed over anybody before, but now all the time, you know, when Phil's quiet, just let me pray over you. And that was new this year in the last 12 months, you know, aside from the quiet sign of the cross on his forehead. I never felt I had the right words. Like I wasn't good enough to pray out loud.
Which is such a silly thing.
Sorry.
You know, I heard the expression Satan referred to as old hairy legs, and I've stolen that from Patrick Madrid because I love it. But I think old hairy legs likes to prevent us from doing whatever it is that's going to make us stronger in our faith journey and making you feel inadequate about how you can offer a prayer for your husband. I mean, come on. Well, yeah, right. It's just
on
getting
Valentine's
beyond
Day, I got the statue of St. Michael the Archangel that I've been wanting forever.
I saw that on the mantle when I walked in. I want that too. It's such a great statue.
There's holy water over there. There's holy water on my desk. Yep. And we started doing some exorcism prayers with Monsignor Rossetti.
I was going to bring that up.
So we have rosary, intercessory prayer, exorcism prayers, and you're talking about the peace that's emanating from your home. What else could you add to that?
For me, the peace has been newer to me.
Okay.
Because, again, I've always tried to be, as a man, be the fix-it, and she's right. I mean,
Mr. Fix-It.
I've always also wanted to be the breadwinner. And now it's like, okay, I'm working, I like my job and all that. And it's just like, there's a peace that's just come over, and it's like, yeah, it's going to be okay. And it's like, even if I were to lose my job, 2-3 months from now, it's like, okay, well, I just go look for another one.
Exactly.
We're going to be okay.
We're gonna be okay.
We're going to
We're gonna
be okay. I love that.
And when we started praying fervently, it was for the right job, at the right time, at the right place.
You said that before. Yeah, I like that.
And it was important because Bill became my caregiver after I got a new knee in October, and it was not a pretty recovery. I'll just say that.
You're not as good of a patient as he is, I guess.
He was a much better patient.
No.
All right, so a couple of questions here, and then we're going to wrap this up. And I know that we've gone way over, but I love technology today with editing. After everything you've gone through, Bill, where do you find the presence of God most clearly today?
Wow, that's a great question. I would say the one thing that's really been just etched in stone on my new heart is, for me, John chapter 6 at the end, where he talks about the Eucharist. Mm. I mean, if it wasn't before, it is now. And it was before, so it's more now, of just, this is my body, this is my blood. Mm. And how he says, if you do not partake, you have no life in you. Mm. And he double downs and says it 2 more times.
And he doesn't shrink away when his disciples are leaving. He sticks to it. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. And Michelle, what would you say to someone who feels overwhelmed or like their prayers aren't working or they don't matter?
I am way more empathetic than I've ever been in my life. And I tell people, we have a neighbor 2 doors down who got a kidney transplant about a year ago, and he's having a really bad recovery, in and in the hospital more than anything. And just, I hear you, I understand you. Not to say that what somebody is going through, but I understand what you're going through, and you are not alone, and you are in God's hands, and so is your husband. And this too shall pass. And that sounds silly, but it does pass. There's a season for everything. And right now you're suffering, and my gosh, you're going to be stronger because of it.
Someone like me, I like to have the answers all the time and fix it with everybody right away. But I heard someone saying not too long ago, they were going through a particularly difficult, rough patch in their life. They'd just lost a parent, and priest came to the house, and he was sitting with them, and all he did was just sit there with them and just listened. Mm-hmm. And just by the very presence of them being there and being empathetic and showing the love that way was much more effective than having me come in there and trying to fix it and, tidy things up and make everything better. So, I think that's it, right? That's how we show our love. We just acknowledge, and time is huge, just by being with and not feeling like we need to be rushed. And
understanding we don't know, we haven't walked in someone else's shoes. and just to be kindness toward each other. I want to come back to something. We were talking about faith journey,
Yeah.
and going through the motions and Mass, and even 6 or 7 years ago, I'd go to Mass and I'd be looking around at the stained glass during the consecration, and it wasn't until Monsignor Ingham came. There was something about the heightened level of holiness that he brought to Mass, with the number of altar boys guarding the gates of heaven, keeping Satan out. And you can see us in the front row, so nobody blocks our view. And I am so laser focused on the breaking of the bread and the lifting it and the consecration and adding that little bit of back and rebuilding Jesus. That's been a faith journey, but that was very inward. It was only this year that my faith journey truly became external toward others. Not afraid to talk about it.
And it's interesting that you brought up Monsignor Ingham, because we just celebrated
1
the year anniversary of his passing, and I know he is working hard up there
for us.
Yes, for sure. All right, so as we wrap this up, and we could go on and on and on and on about your journey and where you are, but I mean that's it. We're all on a journey here. What would you say to a couple going through a medical crisis or a time of spiritual dryness? How can they cling to faith together? How about you, Bill? Why don't you start?
So whether it's medical or just whatever it is, at that moment in time, it's like the worst thing you could think you're going through.
They're probably not receptive to hearing anything. But I will tell you, when I was going through the thick of it, people would bring me gift cards, and they'd bring me words of encouragement, and they'd send me notes. And sometimes just letting somebody know, I am thinking of you. I am lifting you up when you can't lift yourself up. I am holding you in prayer when you're trying to sleep to be better caretaker for tomorrow. But to be strong for each other as best you can, to let each other know where you're afraid too, because we did a lot of that.
Yes, that is such an important point to make. To share that, you don't need to hide it from each other, because that's an opportunity for you both to be praying for each other in the midst of that too. Yeah, that's beautiful. How about you, Bill?
Yeah, I think they're letting each other know what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Because I try not to do that, but if the will, keep being, the strong face. Excuse me.
Right.
And when you're going through a tough time, pray together and let the other person know what you're feeling, and there's a good chance you're both feeling the same thing, so you know what to work on, and praying the rosary, even if it's listening to it on hollow and
falling asleep to it,
and falling asleep to it,
because you're falling asleep in your mother's arms.
That's so beautiful. And who would have thought, thinking back to that encounter at Queen of Apostles, that you would have been on this journey together where you are. And, as that's what the sacrament of marriage is. We're supposed to help each other get to heaven. So,
yes.
Wow, it's so beautiful. Okay, so one more question. I said it was going to be the last one, but I want one more. Any specific, besides the rosary, I guess, maybe the rosary is it. Is that the devotion that you feel like has carried you through this encounter? This experience, I mean.
Yes,
and it continues to inspire you today.
Because I've collected rosaries, but I can say I've never made a habit of praying them completely all 5 decades.
Yeah.
And to this day, I still struggle with what the 5 mysteries are. I'm like, okay, the joy finds.
Right.
I think I can do it.
Yeah, somebody once told me it's like they're telling a story. It's a chronological story. So if you remember that, sometimes that will help prompt.
I don't remember scripture writings a whole lot.
Yeah.
I remember songs. And one song I sing a lot is "Here I Am, Lord," isn't I, Lord? And that can mean so many things. It can mean so many things. I'm here.
How about you, Bill? Favorite devotion?
Well, if it's devotion, then yeah, it would be the rosary as well. Actually, it's kind of funny. I taught the rosary as That Man Is You.
Yeah, he ran That Man Is You until he got sick.
And so we did the rosary, and I did a different.
You did a different
mystery?
class, was a different...
Thank you. The different mystery. So then one week would be the first one, and the next week would be the second one, the third one of the first, right, of the joyful. And then, yeah. And it's ironic, though, because by now, like, if I had to do the whole rosary by memory, nah.
Couldn't do it.
It's taken me years, too. And I'm a cradle Catholic, so don't be too hard on yourself.
But, I enjoy doing it, and okay, what do I do again? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
fine.
There was a little booklet that I have that I really, really like that I picked up because my mind is always wandering. And it's called the Scripture Rosary. And with each mystery, there are 10 scriptures that are associated with that particular mystery. So I can pray Hail Mary as I'm reading the mystery, and it really comes alive for me. So I'll share that with you as well.
Thank you.
All right. Any final thoughts you want to share as we close this up? Bill, how about you?
The only thing I would say is if you're in your spiritual journey and you're not sure where you're at, or if you don't think it's good enough or whatever, God takes you where you are.
Where you need to be.
Takes you where you need to be.
Thank you both so much for sharing your faith journeys with us. You have both reminded us that even in the darkest moments, God is at work. And that prayer, especially shared prayer, can be a powerful force for healing and peace. If their story has touched you, consider taking a moment today to pray with your spouse or loved ones. And if you're struggling, remember, you're not alone. God walks with you. If you missed any part of this episode or want to catch up on past conversations filled with inspiration and hope, you can find them all at divinemercyradio.org. Just click on local shows, and don't forget, you can take Faith Works with you wherever you go. Just download the free Divine Mercy Radio app from your app store. Simply search Divine Mercy Radio and see, and you're all set to listen anytime, anywhere. Until next time, keep living your faith boldly because faith works. God bless.